Now, let me take a moment to introduce our next speaker. So we have Nivedita Joshi Nathani with us here, who's the Managing Director of Relaunch. Nivedita is an accomplished global HR leader with over 25 years of experience in strategizing and implementing global human capital initiatives that impact business results, drive client centricity, and enhance employee engagement. Nivedita conceptualized, designed, and launched Cognizant's flagship return to work program globally. And as Relaunch's India-based managing director, Nivedita advances the global footprint of Relaunch's pioneering work by working with progressive corporations on advisory services to leverage diverse talent pools. So welcome, Nivedita. And I'm sure, we have done a little bit of justice with your introduction there, but our audience would love to know more about you from the source, from you itself. So tell us more about your journey, and we'd love to get started.
Thank you, Sanmay, first of all, for having me here. Really excited to be here. The journey is like 28 years long, so it was going to be a very long thing. So I would just want to focus on what would be of interest to the participants here. So thank you so much to you and the whole Power to Fly team. I'm so delighted to be here, and thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nivedita. So starting with the crux of today's conversation. So, our audience is really interested about what you have to say about relaunching one's career. So could you tell us what kind of candidates might find themselves relaunching their career and, could be eligible for a relaunch program?
Great. So thank you so much. And let me now at least give a quick introduction about, I know the audience on this forum right now might be people who are already working and they must be looking for new opportunities, more opportunities. And we're starting with a session, which is really talking about, how to relaunch after a career break. I'm sure many of you already have successful careers, but I think, we at iRelaunch are really in a mission of normalizing career breaks. As Sanmay, you just said that 25 years, I really have been in the industry for past more than 28 years, maybe 30 years. So it has been quite a long journey with ups and downs, and where staying put was quite a challenge. In my era, I can say, I was so scared to take a break for whatever reason I really had to, because I was very scared that I will never be able to come back to the corporate world. So I come on this topic with that passion that, oh my God, how can we really normalize taking career breaks? And career break is just a pause and you carry on. So with that background about myself, and I would like to talk a little bit about iRelaunch, and then I will definitely answer your question. So iRelaunch, my friends here at this forum, we are really the pioneers and thought leaders in this whole space of helping very big corporations launch their return to work program, which we call like relaunchers, are the talented pool, as we call them, professionals who had to take a career break. Now talking about Sanmay's question, how do you really define the relaunchers? In our language, it can be anyone who had to. It is not necessarily mothers, it is not necessarily women. We look at relaunchers from a very broad lens. It could be men, it could be women, it could be anyone who had to take a career break or a career pause, as we would call it, for the reasons of childcare, for taking care of the family, for their own health reasons, for having a wonderful entrepreneurial successful or failed venture, or somebody going for a higher education. A lot of professionals like me who are, in Indian context, the defense officer spouses who are just trailing with their husbands and, are never able to kind of relaunch their careers once they are married, and anything else. People who are underemployed, who want to do something, who are qualified to do something, are not able to get opportunities for the right things. So for us, we look as relaunchers with a very broad brush of being extremely inclusive and broad in the whole definition of it, for any reason, any gender, that you have to take a career break and you are really looking forward to relaunch. So that's how I define it.
Thank you so much, Nivedita, for putting the light on the definition of what relaunchers are. So let me get specific here for a moment. So I just wanted to ask you about, what are employers typically looking for when, when looking to hire people with career gaps or, relaunchers in specific?
Sure. So some of the parameters I would say, and I am sure, just to resonate with the people on the call who are already employed, I have been in HR for 28 years and been on the other side recruiting, I have been in recruiting in the Y2K era and all of that. So been there, done that, hired 30,000 people every month. Those are the kind. So some of the things that you look for in when you're hiring a relauncher would be very similar to what you look for any hires. You look for people who will be a cultural fit. You look for people who are competent, and so on and so forth. But I would like to highlight what specifically, employers look for when they're hiring the relaunchers. As we all know that there is more and more focus and understanding that this is really a gem of a talent pool which has been ignored for a long time. I was on the other side, as I said, as HR, and oh my god, this resume has a career break, oh, we can't consider. I think that's how the yesteryears were. But as we are seeing the growth of return to work programs, I shouldn't say return to work, because now actually return to work phrase is confused with return to work or workplace after COVID. So I should call it career re-entry programs. With the rising interest in the career re-entry programs across the world, across the globe, in India, over the years, I would say some of the specific things that employers look for when they look at professionals with a career break is definitely the great life experiences and maturity that they have gathered over that period of break. Period of break doesn't stop you from learning and growing as a human being. So I think what employers really look for is that confidence, that gravitas, that maturity, those life experiences that that a relauncher brings to the table, going through that whole career break experience. The resilient attitude, the really raring to go energy that you bring back, wanting to come back to the workforce, and most importantly, because some of your skills could be outdated. I mean, you might have to learn new things, because I would say, like, forget about a career break. Even people who are in careers right now have to be continuously learning new things and keep them abreast with the latest and greatest. So one of the most important things that an employer would look at is not really what you did 10 years back. I mean, if you're looking for example, full stack, or if you're looking at, Python or things which are latest and greatest, they definitely know that you are a relauncher and you do not have that skill. But what they would be interested to know is about your learning agility, your drive. What have you done yourself to, keep yourself updated, keep yourself upskilled? Many a times through the break, you may not get that opportunity to, keep yourself updated. But as one is choosing to come back, I definitely would, suggest the pre-launchers, people who are thinking of launching back, to really focus on, starting on that journey on themselves, to learn new things, because those would be the things that I would think employers look for: learning agility, drive, raring to go, their whole experience through the career break that makes them a mature person. So, and I have to just mention something here. When I was leading the program for one of the big corporates, and I used to have managers on the other side, and they would say, "Oh my God, Nivedita, you get us these relaunchers, and unlike many experienced hires, these are the people who are just on the fifth gear day one. I mean, they don't wait for instruction. They're saying, oh, what do I do next? What do I do next?" So I think that's always the kind of energy that relaunchers bring to the table, which is very, very exciting. And I am so glad that, the belief in this whole talent pool is kind of strengthening each day.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. And you touched upon some really great skill sets like resiliency, drive, and all of that. So thank you so much for that. So I just wanted to touch upon, the career relaunch program. So are they a common occurrence in India yet? And, what tends to happen? Like, what are the benefits of enrolling in a relaunch program rather than, going out there and finding your route yourself. So how does a relaunch program aid the relaunchers in their journey of getting hired in their dream organization? So tell us more about that.
Sure. So in an ideal state, this should not be the motto. I mean, this side, normalizing career breaks. It should have been normalized. What's the big deal about just having a break? Yes, in a normal scenario, it should be a mainstream thing as we are recruiting, fresh graduates, as we are recruiting experienced hires, as we are recruiting different categories of, diverse talent. This is just another diverse talent. But we all know that there have been a lot of, I wouldn't say prejudices, but they are really some of the concerns, and some of them are real too. If somebody needs Python, somebody needs Python, and people really want people to be hitting the road running when they're hiring experience. So there are reasons that people have reservations to hire people with a career break. Now, coming back to your question, that why programs, and why not without programs? Absolutely, that's how that's how possibly the future would be, when the things are normalized, and career break is just like another thing where you really don't really need to work on the ecosystem right now as the state is. First of all, let me answer your first question, which I possibly missed. In India, all across the world, almost all leading employers are really big on returnship hiring, as it is called, or career reentry programs. So it is really big. It is happening. It is here. It is. Relaunch works with almost more than almost all Fortune 200 and many more. And it's a big thing happening everywhere, with, of course, all the talent crunch that we have in the industry. This is really a great fresh air to this whole talent pool. Coming back to why program and why not without program, yes, someday it will be just a very streamlined process, like we have the freshers from college, and you have a upskilling path which is charted for them. Oh, these are the college graduates who have to go on the mainframe path. These are the college graduates who go on the open systems, and so on and so forth. Similarly, I think someday when it is all normalized, it isn't a big deal. There won't be need for any programs. Maybe, but so far right now, because there's a lot of work that goes on into preparing the relaunchers, because relaunchers themselves do not believe, they have all those apprehensions, they have that imposter syndrome, whether I'll be as successful. They need that confidence to come back. So Relaunch really works on both sides of the equation. One is working with the relaunchers, helping them with resources to get that whole confidence back, and chart their own journey, how to create the resume, how to speak in their interviews. So work on the relauncher side of the equation. Also the corporations, because managers are used to hiring experienced hires or freshers. They are not used to hiring. So how do you manage what questions to ask in the interview, what questions not to ask in the interview, how to introduce a relauncher once they are coming in? How do you really groom a relauncher versus a person relauncher might have had like more than a manager's experience, who's managing them. So because there is a lot of work required to really create the right ecosystem, is why return to work programs are good to have. Having said that, there are people who have been hired who should continue to get hired without programs. And my advice to those relaunchers would just be that, wherever you sense that apprehension that, oh, would you be successful? Would you be able to learn? I think go ahead and be proactive, offer to those employers that, so you have this returnship model, which is like an internship like model for mid-career and senior career. Offer to those employers that, yes, take me on a project, take me on a whatever short assignment, and see how I do. And that's the time that they can test waters. Managers can test, how successfully are they able to kind of bounce back into the corporate career. And that's how I would say. I wouldn't say that, corporate programs are the way. I think all the way should be open. And I think, as I said, my advice to relaunchers is that, just have that confidence and offer that. And doesn't mean that, you will not have those moments, oh my God, I have said this, whether I'll be able to deliver. But just say it. And I have seen so many relaunchers, and I have seen very, very few who did not succeed. Very, very few.
Thank you so much. And I really love the point that you stressed upon, that if you're really apprehensive whether or not this is for me, just let the employer know that you can try me on a short assignment, and then my efficiency and the work ethics will speak for itself. So that's definitely a golden trick out there. So I'll just touch upon something that you mentioned briefly, during this during the answer that you're giving. So you touched upon I mean, relaunching is as much as a psychological endeavor as much as skills are required. So there is there is stress involved. There is always that uncertainty. You ask to yourself, there is this imposter syndrome involved, that am I good enough? Like, after so many years, do I have that in me to what it takes to succeed in the corporate world? So how do the relaunch programs help with the psychological side of things? How do you equip the candidates or the relaunchers with the psychological know-how, or the ability to go out there and tackle the corporate world?
Right. So it's as I mentioned that from when I said that we work on the relauncher side of the equation, helping the relaunchers with different resources. So resources span across various things, and psychological part of is one part of it. Even aiding with the resources, as I said, the physical resources, and helping them create that network of similar kind of people. Like I Relaunch, we have a Facebook group which is like 10,000 people. Our LinkedIn group is again a very huge group. So giving that shoulder, and some of you can really sign up on the group and see what is the kind of activity that goes on there. So when you're talking about the psychological support, it's not just I Relaunch giving to the relaunchers, it is actually relaunchers giving it to each other. It is tremendous. When we are designing even the programs, we actually advise the corporates when they're starting the programs to make it very cohort based. I have run those programs for my previous employer. I had 10 cohorts go on for almost 1 year. And the sense of support and camaraderie that is created, that the cohort, they themselves, the relaunchers themselves offer to each other is tremendous. I don't think, that is, that has whatever feedback we have received over the years, that is something which is most cherished by all the relaunchers. Coming back to what corporates do, what I Relaunch does, we do extremely systematic career transition coaching sessions with the relaunchers. We equip them. I mean, you spoke about the imposter syndrome. We prepare them with the elevator pitch. How do you really introduce yourself? Because you have lost, oh my God, what would I say? What have I done? What was I doing for last, so many years? So just getting them equipped. So we do very thorough, career transition coaching sessions at multiple points of their coming back to corporate career. So we do it at the outset. We do it even when they are deciding to come back. And then when they come back, and then doing a midpoint check, because at the midpoint check, then there are different kind of issues which people are dealing with. And then of course we have another coaching point at that point. And then of course when people are finally transitioning out of some of the structured career re-entry programs, we have more coaching sessions to really aid them and help them get their the whole mental strength back to be back. And as I said, we don't have to do much. They bounce back much sooner and much stronger than anyone can believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, for somebody who is, who wants to know more about the relaunch program, so what are some of the resources, or websites you would suggest to know more about, what are the different programs offered by different corporates or different organizations? How would somebody know about that?
Sure. So definitely, first and foremost, I would talk about the I Relaunch job board. See, the thing is, the programs are becoming extremely popular. If having said that, some of these regular job portals may not really have those opportunities, and it is a chicken and egg. They don't have the relaunching opportunities because relaunchers are not there on those job boards. Yeah, because why would I be on a Naukri or a Monster? I mean, I have been out of workforce, so I'm really not active on that. So my first and foremost piece of advice to everyone would be to get active on LinkedIn. So you definitely will get to know about all the opportunities and for career reentry programs. Definitely, iRelaunch being the pioneer and really the leader in the global space on this whole subject. Please do enroll, because even employers are not able to reach out to relaunchers on the regular job portals because they are neither there nor are they, so that's where places like iRelaunch, which are specifically job boards for people with a career break. I encourage all the relaunchers, and I know most of you are working, or you could be pre-launchers who will possibly take a break for something else. But yes, encourage your friends, your moms, your cousins, your neighbors, friends' wife who have taken a career break to be specifically there on, iRelaunch job board. Be on LinkedIn. There, LinkedIn last year has defined a very made a very progressive move to have this tab about career break, and even giving some reasons about it or whatever. So whether you are, if when you're wanting to come back, or even if you are on a career break, go on LinkedIn, update that that whole feature. And in fact, iRelaunch was the LinkedIn partner to really call out that break campaign, and we are very proud of that. So I encourage everyone to be on LinkedIn. You will get a lot of know about a lot of return to work programs. And we shouldn't sound bragging, but yes, iRelaunch does partner with most of the leading employers, and our leading employers have the access to our job board. So please go ahead and enroll, on the iRelaunch job board, jobs.irelaunch.com. You can find it on our website. And beyond that, if you really are interested in some company, you don't see it anywhere, go to that company's website and you would be surprised. Like all the leading employers, you talk about Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs was one of those pioneers in the whole space of career relaunch, but you talk about Tata's in India. So just search on various companies, and quite a few companies do have career relaunch programs which are already there. So that would be my advice. Be active on LinkedIn, get onto specific job sites like the iRelaunch job board, and look for specific returnship opportunities in different companies that you're interested in.
Thank you so much, Nivedita, and I'm pretty sure that all of our participants will find this information really useful. I wanted to ask you about the impact that COVID had on the relaunching scenario on this landscape. So, how do you think has that situation changed? Are there more virtual roles, like relaunching roles for relaunchers, which are more virtual in nature? So how do you see that landscape changing?
Okay, first and foremost, with all whatever all of us went through with COVID, I think these are some of the better effects of COVID, I would say. One thing that COVID really has changed in this landscape, and I was in this relaunching landscape before that as well, is really reducing the stigma on a break. I think with COVID, so many people had to take break for so many reasons that I think this whole phenomena has in a way normalized career breaks. There were layoffs in various parts of the world. There were different things that happened. I mean, people had to take longer breaks for their own health, or taking care of their families, or just being with families. So I think what COVID has done is really reduce the stigma around having a break in the resume and taking a career break. So that's on one side of the equation. The other definitely is that things that we really believed cannot be done without going to office. We all know almost everything can be done without going to office. So definitely it has opened the vistas of different opportunities opening for loads of people, and I think that's just a great welcome change. There are far more opportunities which are flexible, which are virtual, which of course have quite a very few are really in office roles. There are enough opportunities which are hybrid in nature and virtual in nature. So I think definitely COVID has opened many more doors for relaunchers. And the last thing is, Also, when people were relaunching earlier, it used to be a little daunting experience suddenly to go back to office and manage home this that. I think COVID has, and this hybrid model has given a soft launch to people to come back. So I think those have been, so people are able to still have a family around and being able to manage some work. So that whole soft launch into career, back into the career, has also been one welcome changes, how I would see that.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. I see one question here from the audience. What is the effect of great resignation and the approaching economic downturn on the relaunch scenario?
So I think, we all are talking about it, we all are experiencing it, and we were in fact, having our eyes and ears open that what is really happening to this space of relaunching professionals with the economic situation. But I am still seeing that the demand for good talent is still on a high. I think while that is a reality, this is also a reality. There are places that recruitment is slowing down. Having said that, it is not just about talent supply. It is also about the larger purpose that people are doing this, this initiative for. People are really finding the great value of a diverse talent pool. And, in terms of just not just diverse talent pool, as I said, we look at relaunchers very broadly. So diversity, not just in terms of gender, but also in terms of ageism, in terms of, geographical disperse this thing, in terms of ethnicity. So I think to some extent, these programs and return to work, the belief in the strength of the talent, and really focusing on building a diverse pipeline. And I know all of you must be knowing that so many DNI initiatives, and so this is as much a talent initiative as it is a diversity initiative. So that's where I do not see so far anything getting pulled back, at least on relaunching. There is lot of belief, lot of faith, and lot of investment that is happening all across the world, just because the strength that this whole diverse talent pool brings to the table.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. We are really close to the time here. So before we part, our audience would love to know, where they can follow your work more, where they can, get to know more about you and, the work that you're doing. So tell us more about that. And yeah.
Sure. So I spoke about iRelaunch. Please go ahead and look at www.irelaunch.com. I would suggest, please go ahead and, register yourself on the job board. And if you really aren't really a person on the career break, do spread this message. You are going to be of great help to people, to your neighbor, your neighbor's wife, to a veteran spouse who has been struggling to come back, and they really do not know about these things. So definitely, do that. Find me on LinkedIn. My name is Nivedita Joshi Nathani, and yeah, so I think those would be the ways to find me, find iRelaunch, find opportunities, and I just wish that all of you find the right places to launch and relaunch.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. We were so glad to host you, and what an amazing talk. Thank you so much once again for dropping those nuggets of wisdom, and I'm pretty sure that all of our audience will find all the information that you provided really useful. And go follow Nivedita on LinkedIn. Go check out iRelaunch's website. We'll post that link in the chat shortly, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Nivedita.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you all a great event ahead. And let power to fly. We really the wings beneath many professionals and many women who are there on this call. So wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.